T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 3, 2, 1, 0, and liftoff of Space Shuttle Atlantis on a mission to build, resupply, and to do research on the International Space Station.
Houston now controlling. Atlantis begins its penultimate journey to shore up the International Space Station.
Imagine living in a world where humans are exploring distant planets and building outposts to live on. Well, we're not there yet, but the Artemis program may be the start of this bold endeavor. Fittingly named after Apollo's sister, the Greek goddess of the moon, the Artemis program is a spiritual sibling of the Apollo program, which landed the first astronauts on the moon. Not only does NASA plan to send human crew members back to the moon for the first time since 1972, but its additional objectives seem like straight-up science fiction. They include the construction of a permanent lunar base and the first crewed interplanetary mission to Mars. But to get there, NASA will need to take its new technology for a test drive, as well as do more research. With so much riding on one mission, NASA will need everything to go perfectly, which is why they pushed back the launch date from 2017 to 2018, then 2019, and finally 2022. Now, after years of intense planning, the long-awaited moment has arrived. Is this the dawn of a new age of space exploration? The answer will depend on the success of Artemis 1. If you enjoy learning about the latest space news, please subscribe to Nebula now. Also, please leave a like and a comment about what you expect to see from the coming years of space exploration. All of your support is much appreciated. Now let's get back to the launch. Join me as we take an in-depth look at NASA's Artemis program. Learn how the Orion space shuttle is the most advanced one ever built, and how they plan to reach new heights with it. Originally, the mission was to launch on Monday, August 29, 2022, but recent news has stated that the mission is being postponed again due to malfunctioning of the RS-25 engine. Now Artemis is scheduled to launch on September 2, 2022. Artemis 1 will launch from Complex 39B at the Kennedy Space Center. If all goes as planned, we'll see the first launch of NASA's Space Launch System rocket, a super heavy vehicle that will propel the Orion capsule into space and the first flight of Orion itself, the only spacecraft currently capable of human deep space flight. While Artemis 1 will be a crewless mission, the Orion shuttle can support a crew of up to 6 humans. It is equipped with solar panels, a glass cockpit, an automated docking system, a life support system, and a launch abort system capable of ejecting the crew module in case a catastrophic failure occurs during ascent. The shuttle's primary propulsion comes from a single AJ-10 engine, while its secondary propulsion uses 8 for the 11 engines as thrusters. The Artemis 1 mission will explore 25 days of space, as well as remain in orbit for 6 days, traveling the opposite direction to Earth and the Moon. In addition to testing NASA's latest equipment, Artemis 1 will have a secondary payload of 10 CubeSats, which contains small satellites that will conduct some nifty independent testing. These include an orbiter designed to search for lunar ice, and a solar-powered spacecraft capable of encountering near-Earth asteroids. Orion will be stacked on the Space Launch System, a towering rocket standing 111 meters tall. The launch of this new rocket will produce 8.8 million pounds of thrust, the most powerful ever launched. To create enough force to send this heavy rocket past Earth's gravitational pull, it will get power in several stages. At blast-off, the core stage and the 2 solid rocket boosters will fire up within minutes. The core stage, which houses the RS-25 engines, will burn through nearly 3 million liters of liquid propellant, while each booster will also burn through 900,000 kilograms of solid fuel. This does sound like a lot, but I don't think you can appreciate this in real terms without seeing it in action. So purely for your visual enjoyment, here is a close-up of the engines being tested. This is absolutely remarkable power. Once the core and boosters run out, the rocket will drop them, shedding excess weight. At this point, the Space Launch System will have reached its low orbit and the shuttle will still need additional power in order to escape Earth's gravity. To do this, the SLS will perform a translunar injection. The upper part of the rocket, called the interim cryogenic propulsion stage, will then fire up and drop away, accelerating the Orion shuttle to nearly 40,000 kilometers per hour, fast enough to send it on a trajectory to the moon. After the ICP separates from Orion, it will drop its payload of 10 small satellites to do their own information-gathering missions. The Orion spacecraft will orbit the moon and maintain its orbit until it's close enough to brake for course correction, giving crews an incredible vantage point of the dark side. At this point, Orion was separate from its service module and re-entered Earth's atmosphere before splashing down with the help of parachutes. While other shuttles have used similar technologies in the past, SLS is unique in that it can carry extremely heavy payloads while sending human crews much further than they have ever traveled. The extra power will be useful for running heavy payload missions and hopefully end with NASA's goal to send a manned mission to Mars. Artemis 1 will be crewless, but the shuttle will have several different artificial members on the ship. One will be Captain Munich in Campus, a mannequin equipped with radiation sensors and acceleration measurement instruments, as well as to phantoms shaped like female torsos. Keeping them company will be a plush Snoopy and Shaun the Sheep, while the latter two are presumably just to come along for the ride. Captain Campus and the Phantoms will have important jobs to do. Our very own Campus will be test-wearing the Orion Crew Survival System suit that astronauts on future missions will wear during launch and re-entry. The Matroska Astro Rad Radiation Experiment, or MARI, which collects data on solar radiation during this mission, is also a big step forward for us as it offers valuable data that we can use to protect our crew. The female Phantoms, meanwhile, contain synthetic organs that mimic hard and soft tissue integrated with hundreds of radiation detectors. One Phantom will wear an Astro Rad radiation vest, and the other will fly unprotected as a control. NASA plans to send both men and women on future Artemis missions, so it's important to gather information on various health risks specific to both male and female biology. In the past, NASA has sent men to the moon, yet they have never sent a woman before. This program will take future crews outside of Earth's protective magnetic field, where they will be fully exposed to solar and cosmic radiation. NASA hopes that the information they collect will be useful for protecting future crewed missions from that harm. If Artemis 1 is successful, NASA has big plans for the near future. Artemis 2, currently scheduled for launch in 2024, will carry 4 human crew members on a lunar flyby that will extend 16,000 kilometers beyond the moon, further than anyone has ever traveled before. In 2025, Artemis 3 will carry 4 crew members into lunar orbit, 2 of whom will land on the moon's south pole for the first time. This mission will be the first time a woman walks on the moon. This is a special occasion and might encourage future generations of women to engage in space-related topics in the STEM field. And 2025 is not that far away, only 3 years to go. The astronauts that will be on this mission are already training for it as we speak. But after that, things will get even more exciting. In 2027, NASA plans to deliver the first module for the Lunar Gateway. The Gateway will be a permanent space station orbiting the moon, much as the International Space Station orbits Earth. It will house docking ports for visiting spacecraft, and a habitable outpost called Halo for humans to live. A few years further down the line, NASA plans to build the Artemis base camp at the Shackleton crater on the lunar South Pole, with access to water, ice, and mineral resources. It's the ideal spot for a permanent outpost that would house up to 4 crew members' 4-month-long stay. NASA, in the meantime, is developing an open-top lunar terrain vehicle, or LTV. Astronauts will be able to drive it for up to 20 kilometers from base camp on the rough lunar surface. For trips of greater length on the moon's surface, NASA plans to build a pressurized rover which allow them to explore the moon without their spacesuits. If all this sounds like a fun adventure to you, there's good news, because as we continue to develop a human and robotic presence on the moon, it may eventually become a travel destination open to a wider public. That's right, sometime in the future you or I might be able to visit the moon. What would you bring? NASA is already asking people to share their ideas. Design your own hashtag NASAMoonKit on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram with the hashtag NASAMoon. This might make you wonder why we've got so interested in our nearest celestial neighbor again. And while NASA never stopped working, the real reason is funding from their private sector partners. And the US is becoming acutely aware of heavy competition in the sector. China's plans to also get to the moon. It's quickly becoming a race, and the US government does not want to be left behind. But as I mentioned earlier, the horizon goal of the Artemis program is not only to establish a sustainable human presence on the moon, but to provide a proving ground for an eventual crewed mission to Mars. In 2029, NASA will roll out Block 2, an even more powerful version of the Space Launch System, fully capable of sending the Orion space shuttle to Mars. If all goes as planned, NASA hopes to shift its attention to a Mars mission sometime in the 2032. That's only a decade away. But to get there, a lot will have to go right. And it all starts with the Artemis 1 mission. Artemis 1 could be a watershed moment that jumpstart the golden age of space exploration. I don't know about you, when Artemis 1 blasts off, I will be glued to my computer watching all the latest news and updates. The time when we travel far beyond the Earth and inhabit other worlds might be closer than you think. So if this is an idea that excites you, you'll definitely want to stick around, because I'll have a lot more about Artemis and space colonization in the future. Thanks for watching. If you found value, sharing and liking the video helps me make more videos in the future. I can't wait to see you in the next video.